8 pro-life answers to pro-abortion arguments. In this video, I want to appeal to your logic. I'm not going to be using Bible verses to argue the point of pro-life position. So many people say the reason why you guys are pro-life is because of religion. But I believe that the issue of arguing for the lives of children in the womb is not just religious, it's a human thing that we have to stand for. Abortion is not a modern day phenomenon. Surviving texts from the ancient Greco-Roman history reveal that people were familiar with the practice of abortion way back then. Some people viewed it as a good and necessary reason for preventing unwanted children, reducing the amount of heirs that you have, reducing the amount of weaker children, hiding sexual activity, and preventing bodily disfigurement, and avoiding expenses and the inconvenience of childbirth. Abortions were done by abortion-type drugs and brutal surgery. Occasionally, abortion was condemned based on the philosophy that what grows in the womb could be a human being. In the recent history, the Soviet Union under Vladimir Lenin recognized as the first country in the modern age to legalize induced abortions upon demand. That should tell you something. If Soviet Union under Vladimir Lenin legalized as the first modern country who legalized that, that should give us a clue that that's not a good thing. The Chinese government used abortions in an effort to reduce the nation's population in the 20th century and to brutally force their people to accept this practice. On the January 22nd, 1973, the Supreme Court of the United States of America ruled in Roe v. Wade that the Constitution of the United States protects a woman's right to privacy and her choice to have an abortion. The Roe v. Wade ruling was originally intended to limit restrictions on the first trimester abortions, but distortions of the original intention have resulted in the permissiveness for ending the life of the baby at any time throughout the pregnancy, even in the moments after complete birth. There has been 63 million legal abortions since 1973, which equals to 19% of our country's current population. Let that sink in. In the United States, oceans, lakes, rivers, trees, fish, reptiles, birds, and our pets enjoy more legal protection than unborn babies. It's safer to be a pet in the United States than it is to be an unborn child in the womb. The most dangerous place for an unborn child is the womb of their mother in the United States. Many who scream pro-choice are also advocates for significant limits on free speech in public, for removing free choice to be vaccinated or not, and for reducing parental influence in our public schools. American pro-choice promoters are rarely seen advocating all the ideas of individual freedoms and liberties established in the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. In practice, they push for pro-abortion doctrine, so radical to include abortion at any time during pregnancy. In this video, I want to present 7 main arguments for pro-abortion and the counter answers of people who are against abortion, as well as we will look at one exception in which abortion is morally justifiable. Number 1, stance of pro-abortion is life begins with breathing. Therefore, abortion is justified. For those who are pro-life, we believe that life begins at conception. Pro-abortionists, they argue that the baby is not a human until it begins to breathe. But in God's creative design, it does not need to breathe while in the womb because it receives oxygenated blood necessary for life through the umbilical cord. We believe that human life begins at the time of conception. At the time fertilization takes place, the child's genetic makeup or DNA is completely established. Its gender has already been determined, along with its height, the hair, eyes, and skin color. The only thing that the embryo needs to be fully functioning human is 9 months in the protective environment of the uterus to grow and develop. The only difference between an unborn child and a newly born child is their location, their size, and their level of dependence on the mother, and their stage of development. Babies outside of the womb are still small, very dependent on the mother, and still growing, although more slowly. They are no more valuable than they were when they were in the womb, tiny, dependent on the mother, attached only by the umbilical cord. To call an unborn child a clump of cells is technically accurate, but it's not adequate, because this description can also apply to every adult human being. All of us are made up of billions of cells. Chuck Swindoll, in his Sanctity for Life book, he says the medical authorities determine a person to be alive if there is either a detectable heartbeat or a brainwave activity. With that in mind, it's an eye-opening for some to realize that unborn children have detectable heartbeats at 18 days, so that's 2.5 weeks, after conception, and detectable brainwave activity 40 days, that's a little over 5.5 weeks after conception. If an unborn child is just a mass of cells and not a person, why is that when a pregnant woman is murdered in 38 states, the incident is considered a double homicide? Argument 2 of those who are pro-choice and pro-abortion. My body, my choice. It's a famous slogan. We see it all over the news and all over social media. Pro-lifers argue that a fetus is not an organ in the woman's body. It's an actual person. When an argument of my body, my choice is applied to the topic of abortion, it fails to acknowledge that another person is also affected by the woman's choice of abortion, the living child growing within the pregnant woman's body. The fetus is not a part of a pregnant woman's body, such as appendix. It's actually a person. The DNA code of the fetus completely defines its all body parts, and the unborn's genetic code is different from its mother's. The fetus is an individual attached to its mother only at the placenta. Being inside of something is not the same thing as being a part of something. Any civilized society restricts an individual's freedom of choice to whether or not that choice should harm another person. Therefore, it's impossible to justify abortion by simply arguing that a woman should be free to choose. You don't have the right to kill an uninvited but harmless person in your house. You shouldn't have the right to kill an unwanted person in your body. Basically, the unborn baby is a visitor in its mother's womb and merits her kind hospitality. The practice of abortion comes down to the choice between the mother's life and her personal convenience, her life and her other plans, her life and her lifestyle. The defenders of the right to choose believe that they could make whatever choice they want, and their choice is right because they made it. The choice may be a human right, but not every choice is the right one. The mother's choice concerning her physical body should have been exercised to prevent a pregnancy in the first place. It's not a matter of a choice to get rid of the fetus, which resulted from not using her freedom to choose to avoid pregnancy. One single choice to commit an abortion robs a baby of a lifetime of choices. He could never exercise his own personal rights. Nearly all civil violations of human rights have been prosecuted or defended on the grounds of one's right to choose to do right or to do wrong. Argument number 3 of pro-abortion. It's better to abort an unwanted children to prevent their future misery. For those of us who stand for pro-life, we argue that poverty and disability doesn't justify killing someone after his birth. Every child is wanted or desired by someone. There is no such a thing as unwanted child. Unwanted describes not a condition of a child, but the attitude of the adults. What is even more unjust or unfair for unwanted children is to kill them. It's illogical to argue that a child is protected from potential abuse through abortion, since abortion is indeed the worst degree of child abuse. We should strive to alleviate suffering and discrimination in the world by taking action to remove unborn babies who might suffer is removing the sufferer, not the suffering that they might potentially endure. Handicapped children are often happy, always precious, and usually delighted to be alive. Handicapped children are not as social liabilities, just as many bright and normal people are not always social assets either. Would poverty, physical disability, or rejection justify the killing of a human being after he was born? The answer is big no. Neither should they justify the killing of a human being before his birth, turning the aborted child into nothing more than disregarded throwaway. Argument number 4. Abortion is okay in case of rape or incest. For those of us who stand for pro-life, we would argue that guilty party should be punished, not the innocent unborn child. Pregnancy due to rape is rare. Less than 1% of all abortions are due to rape or incest. This sexual crime is never the fault of the unborn child. The guilty party should be punished, not the innocent party. The violence of the abortion equals to the violence of rape. Abortion does not and will not bring healing to a rape victim. The child is innocent and very much a person regardless of the circumstances of its conception. Would you consider abortion in any of the 4 following situations? There's a preacher and him and his wife are very, very poor. They already have 14 children. Now she finds out she is pregnant with number 15. They are living in tremendous poverty. Considering their extreme poverty and the large family, would you consider that this family gets an abortion? If you would have said yes, you've just aborted John Wesley, one of the great evangelists of the 19th century. Second case, the father is sick with sniffles and the mother has TB. They have 4 children. The first one is blind, the second one is dead, the third one is deaf, and the fourth one has TB. The mother finds out she's pregnant again. Given these extreme situations, would you consider recommending abortion? If your answer is yes, you have just murdered Beethoven. Case number 3. A white man raped a 13-year-old black girl, and she got pregnant. If you were her parents, would you consider recommending abortion? If you would have said yes, you have just promoted the murder of Ethel Waters, a great black gospel singer. Case number 4. A teenage girl is pregnant. She's not married. Her fiancé is not the father of the baby, and he's very upset. Would you have considered recommending them an abortion? If the answer is yes, you have just promoted the murder of Jesus Christ. Argument number 5 for pro-abortion. I am pro-life personally, but pro-choice or pro-abortion politically. For those of us who stand for pro-life, we would say it's like saying I am against slavery personally, but I am pro-slavery politically. Abortion is as bad for the same reasons as slavery and the Holocaust were. This is the stance of so many people in my generation. I'm personally against abortion, but I don't think it should be illegal. Women should have the right to choose, though I would never have abortion myself. Abortion is wrong, but the government should not legislate morality. We should not force our religious beliefs on other people. Now, let's just switch from abortion to children, since I believe that unborn child is a child. Let's switch it to children. If that's the case, think of it this way. I'm personally against murdering children, but I don't think it should be illegal. Women should have the right to choose their own child, but of course, I would never kill my own. Killing kids is wrong, but the government shouldn't legislate morality or tell us what to do. Oh, and we should not force our religious beliefs on those who want to kill children. See, abortion is not the same thing as swearing, drunkenness, lying, or slander. Abortion is not like other spiritual offenses such as sexual immorality, habitual substance abuse, nor is it even close to harming other people through deception, fraud, or theft. Abortion means killing the unborn and murdering innocent human being. And it's wrong and has nothing to do with politics as much as it has to do with moral and ethical stance. Argument number 6, for those who argue for pro-abortion. Abortion is legal, therefore it's right. For those of us who are standing for babies in the womb, we would say making something legal doesn't make it right. Slavery in the USA was legal, but it was never right. Segregation was legal at one time, but it wasn't right. Forced sterilization in China was legal, but it was unjust. And in Nazi Germany, Jewish Holocaust was legal, but it didn't make it right. Just because something is legal, it doesn't make it moral or ethical. Around the globe, a network of killing centers is eliminating unwanted human beings at a staggering rate, relying on the same inexcusable arguments that were once used to justify the Jewish Holocaust, and today are being used. The same excuses are being used to kill kids, children in the womb. Argument number 7 for pro-abortion. Abortions are safe. Those of us who stand for life, we would say abortion is intended to harm. There's nothing safe about that. All methods of abortion violate the most basic medical tenet: do not harm. Yes, surgeries carry a risk of harm, but abortion is intentional, deliberate cause of harm. It's the most common procedure, but it's not harmless. 2 people walk into a clinic, only one walks out alive. That's not safe. For that one that didn't come alive, they didn't come back from that clinic. In 2014, a study by World Health Organization estimates that between 2003 and 2009, approximately 7.9% of all maternal deaths worldwide were caused by abortion. That's an average of 27,571 maternal deaths per year. Significant risk factors have been associated with abortions, like damage to the uterus during the abortion may cause certain cancers. Damage to the uterus during the abortion may complicate the future pregnancy, and some people even die during abortion. Abortion often leaves women with a lifetime of mental anguish. The psychological implications of abortion are just as much disputed as the actual abortion itself. Whether or not post-abortion syndrome is a real thing or just an imagined condition, there's no denying the fact that abortion has left countless women with the feelings of profound regret and guilt. An Elliott Institute study showed that some 80% of women who aborted their baby regretted their choice, and 43% felt pressured by the family members or medical team to have an abortion. Argument number 8 for pro-abortion. Abortion empowers women. Those of us who stand for life, we would argue that abortion disproportionately eliminates minority babies. Around the globe, abortions are shrinking the female population at the alarming rate. No matter what you believe about the ethics of abortion, there's no denying fact that abortion has become the means of eliminating females around the world. Male offspring are more useful for the economical survival of the families in their underprivileged countries. Estimates put the global gender gap between 100 and 200 million people. Not only that, but abortion is disproportionately eliminating minority babies. In the United States, black children are aborted at more than 3 times the rate as the white children. Hispanic kids are aborted at 1.5 times that rate. Whatever the intentions of Planned Parenthood are, abortion is eliminating disproportionate number of minority children. Now, the only time I believe that abortion is morally justifiable is when it comes to saving the life of the mother. During pregnancy, when removing the unborn child developing outside the uterus is done with a specific intention of saving the life of the mother, it's different than killing that baby. This surgical procedure is not performed with the intention of taking the child's life, which should be preserved, if at all possible, with medical technology. In such a rare and heartbreaking case, the choice should be between the loss of 1 life, the baby's, and the loss of 2 lives, both the baby's and the mother's. This is one of the extreme situations in which abortion would be normally or morally justified. Terminating a pregnancy early to preserve the life of the mother is not a murder, even though it's tragic. But such situations are extremely rare. Dr. Lentram Shettles, he's a pioneer of the field of vitro fertilization. He said less than 1% of all abortions are performed to save the mother's life. But in 2019, medical authorities representing more than 30,000 doctors said intentionally killing a late-term unborn baby by abortion is never imperative to save a mother's life. Final thoughts. Based on the 2008 abortion rates, nearly 1 in 3 women have had an abortion in the United States by the age of 45. Each day in the USA, on the average, more than 2,400 human beings are killed by abortion. Most of these victims weigh less than 1 ounce. Virtually all of them have a beating heart. In the name of choice, abortion kills the smallest and the weakest members of our society. Abortion is an act of violence that kills an innocent human being. And whoever says differently is selling something else. If you have watched this video, I don't know what your political stance is and what your idea on this, but I just want to appeal to those who have had an abortion. As a Christian and a pastor, I want to ask you to look to Jesus Christ as the one who can save you, not only from the sin of abortion, but from every sin, and who came to be your Savior. He died to be my Savior. All of us are in need of His mercy. If you ask Him to forgive you, if you come to Him and repent, and you entrust your life to Him, He will forgive you, even from the sin of abortion and all of your sins. He will give you new life and new heart. If you do that, He will remove the guilt and the shame and deliver you and set you free. He will give you peace and joy, and one day you will be reunited with your child. You can pray that prayer today. You can trust in Jesus today. For those of you who are Christians, but maybe you're like on the fence concerning this whole topic, and you're even mad at me that I'm addressing it on my YouTube channel. I should be talking about more spiritual things. I believe it's pretty spiritual to speak about life and to speak against murder of 2,400 innocent unborn babies in a place that's supposed to be safe, the womb of their mother. My goal is not to judge, condemn, but to bring the truth, because the truth judges all of us, myself included. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you were challenged, encouraged, and strengthened. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts, where you stand in this issue, and I ask you, please be kind to other people who disagree with your views. God bless you. Until next time.